Hello, hello, this is English data, and this video will be, I think, quite short. I'm going to call this Lies My Luthier Tells Me, or Told Me. I like to tell stories. Alright, you have to understand, alright, and why, and this is also in furtherance to some of my more recent videos, and this will help to explain why sometimes, because I do these things off the cut. I should write it down, then I could do it all in one video, but sometimes I do 6 or 7 videos have similar content because I go, oh, after I did it, I go, oh, I should have thought of that, okay? So I'm just having fun, I don't care. It gives me something to do. Again, this has a little bit to do with the differences between inexpensive and expensive guitars. And I've talked in some of my other videos, it's like, why does my cheaper guitar sound better than the expensive guitar, and why does this expensive guitar sound better than my cheaper guitar? It's almost all in the top, okay? The top and the bracing, that's like 90% of it. Go on, you can go on about backs and sides, and I get tired of, like, it becomes bling after a while, like, oh, I got this exotic back and sides, you know, they've been using rosewood and mahogany forever. There's a reason they do that, right? I've found that actually myrtle wood is nice because I like the sound on my breed level, you know, but the back and the sides are not nearly as important as the top. And lies my luthier tells me. Okay, first of all, it has to be an Adirondack top. No. It has to be a straight grained, tight grained top that's stiff and resilient, and usually that means, okay, an Adirondack top are good for that because they're stiff for their weight, and if it's a straight tree that's been grown near the tree line in a cold climate with close rings, it's going to be a good top. But that is also true of a Sitka top. Now Sitkas grow, again, in colder climates, they grow very tall. They grow fast, but they grow tight and close grains. So that's a reason why a good Sitka top is also good as a soundboard. And the common alpine European spruce, Norway spruce, German spruce, whatever, spruce. The reason that makes a good soundboard is because it grows at a high altitude and in colder climates, and it's straight grained and close grained. So those 3 spruces will make a really good top. And you can argue till you're blue in the face about is one better than the other, and not necessarily true, okay? Then you can get into torfication. If it's done properly, yeah, we'll give you, in most cases, a better sounding soundboard. All right, but an untreated board will torify over time. So that's, to me, that should be a choice. You know, a torrified top, that what you hear is what you get, and they're excellent. Don't get me wrong, but you know, you might be like me. I kind of like, I'm an old guy. I got some guitars that are over 30, 40 years old. And they've aged with me, and to me that's a nice thing. If you want that instant aged sound, go ahead, get a torrified top. That's fine. But don't believe. Okay, lies my luthier tells me. Don't believe that there's one that's better than the other. So a good quality cedar board too. Cedar is just softer. It's not as robust. Can't take as much abuse as spruce. So those 3 spruces, picea abies, picea whatever, picea Sitka, and picea, you know, red spruce. I don't know the technical name for it. Any 3 of those boards that are good boards, selected properly, will make an excellent top. You're splitting, I mean, you know, and cedar grown the same way. I don't know what species of cedar. I think Western red cedar is the stuff that they prefer to use, but I'm not an expert on cedar. So That's one of the lies they'll tell you. They'll also tell you that your back and sides has to be solid. No, that's not true. A laminated, a three-ply laminated, if it's good laminate, will be just as good. Actually, be stronger than a solid back and sides. Solid back and sides, yeah, they're more expensive because it's a more expensive piece of wood, right? But if it's good quality laminated, there's nothing wrong with that. It'll be mostly in your top. Then you have luthiers argue about whether, you know, about the joint at the neck and a one-piece neck versus a three-piece neck versus a two-piece neck. Listen, if the neck is made out of good material, it really doesn't matter. I have guitars with two-piece necks, three-piece necks, one-piece necks. They're all excellent. You know, the fingerboard, if it's good quality, maple, ebony, rosewood, or even the new material they use, which is Richlite. I don't know. I think it's mostly prejudice here. I don't think if all that stuff is good quality and done right, and the thing is fretted right and the scale length is done right, I don't think it makes a difference. So what makes the difference is the top. And I'll get more on the finish. And any luthier who's worth his salt will tell you these two things. And if they don't, I'll tell you to your face. They're lies your luthier's telling you. Okay? Nothing sounds better than a 12-fret figure-8 shaped guitar. Triple O. That's just a fact. It's almost identical to the classical guitar shape. And you tell me who sounds better than than a world-class level classical guitarist playing a good classical guitar. You tell me, like, I'm just talking about the quality of the notes. I'm not talking about their stellar musicianship either, but you tell me what sounds better than that for a guitar. You know, you can take a really good steel string player like Tommy Emmanuel. I mean, he can't play that shit. Let's just be honest here, call a spade a spade. So that's why the steel string 12 fret non-cutaway that's going to be your best sounding guitar, period. And the other thing is the main difference between, this is why furtherance to why some less expensive guitars sound better than more expensive guitars. Because, all right, if you're a guitar maker, you're worried about warranty. So I'm telling you straight out, I don't talk about a lot of the Godin products because Godin is a big company, and what they do is they say, okay, this is probably the best median for the quality of wood we have. Most of the guitars we make with a soundboard this thickness will be good enough, and the braces we're going to make this thick because we have a warranty, and the guitar has to hold up. And usually, so that's why probably a $1,500 Seagull won't sound as good as a $3,000 Larrabee or something. It'll still sound good, but Godin's a big company, and they're still really well made. But you might luck out because, like I said before, maybe 10 out of 1,000 that they put through, those two pieces of wood that make that top, that's the right thickness. And so if you got one of those, you go, hey, well, what are you talking about? I got this $1,500 Godin product. Sounds better than so it sounds as good as your $4,000 Larrabee or Yari. Well, that's why. Now, when you get into the more expensive guitars, hopefully they're tuned, so they will sound better. So like the luthier go, now this piece of wood, it's got to be, whatever, 2.9 millimeters, 2.95. That can make a difference, and the braces have to be this, and and then the bracing pattern. They don't want to give away those secrets. But then after that, the next thing is the finish. I guarantee you this, because I've made a guitar. All right, and any honest luthier will tell you this: their guitar sounds the best before they put any finish on it at all. So why don't you get a raw guitar? Well, because they get knocked around and dented and no one would buy them. So they put a finish on. And the thicker the finish is, the more protection it gets. And this is why some expensive guitars like Martin and so sound like shit. They're high-end guitars because they put too much finish on, because it's beautiful. Look at all the work we put into this. We have to preserve it. Well, by making your finish too thick, you just fucking killed the sound of that guitar. So in a nutshell, that's it. Those are lies your luthier will tell you. Because they want to sell guitars. And usually the reason why a more expensive guitar is they are more delicately made. They usually have a thinner top, better quality wood, usually have a thinner finish, and you've got to be careful with them. But sometimes sometimes the luthier makes this mistake. They go, well, we have to protect this thing because it's a work of art, and they put too much finish on. And the lower end guitars will have X amount of finish, because they don't want guitars coming back for warranty claims all the time. So maybe, for example, your Godin or your lower end Yamaha or whatever might have, I don't know, let's say for the sake of argument, it has a 1.3 millimeter thick finish, because they figured out that protects the guitar the best and still lets the top move some. But maybe what they're not telling you is that finish should only be 0.3 millimeters or 0.4 millimeters. And that's the difference right there. Yeah. And I'm using this guitar. I scraped this down to the raw wood. And it wasn't a cheap guitar when I bought it, but that's why I call it my expensive, fill in your name, guitar killer, because I don't know how it was braced, and I don't know the thickness of the top, but it's good. And so that's what I'm saying. So yeah, you might have one of those $3,000 Martins that maybe out of that year, maybe 80 of the 2,000 or whatever they made, maybe 8 of the tops were great for that piece of wood, and that's the one you got. So that's why it is what that's got nothing to do with Martin makes them better. No, nothing to do with that at all. So that, my friends, is the truth. Lies your luthier told you or tells you, and probably will keep telling you. Whatever. Bye.